students, in this video I am going to take the lesson Forest and Wildlife Resources.
Welcome students. In this video I am going to take the lesson Forest and Wildlife Resource. Introduction. The earth has immense biodiversity. We humans, along with all living organisms, form a complex web of ecological system in which we are only a part and very much dependent on the system for our own existence. So, forest plays a key role in the ecological system as these are also the primary producers on which all living beings depends. The flora and fauna in India. India is one of the world's richest countries in terms of its vast array of biological diversity and has nearly 80% of the total number of species in the world. 90,000 species of fauna, 74,000 species of flora, 15,000 flowering plants, 2,000 species of birds, 10% of flora and 20% of mammals are on threatened list. The forest covers 78.29 million hectare, which is 23.81% of the total geographical area. The different categories of existing plants and animal species based on International Union for Conserving of Nature and Natural Resources. Number 1, normal species. These species whose population levels are considered to be normal for their survival, such as cattle, sal, pine, rodent, etc. Endangered species are those species which are in danger of extinction. The survival of such species is difficult if the negative factors that have led to a decline in their population continue to operate. Example: black buck, crocodile, Indian wild ass, Indian rhino, lion-tailed macaw, sangai. Vulnerable species. These are species whose population has declined to levels from where it is likely to move into the endangered category in the near future if the negative factors continue to operate. Example: blue sheep, Asiatic elephant, Gangetic dolphin. Rare species. These species with small population may move into the endangered or vulnerable category if the negative factors affecting them continue to operate. Examples are the Himalayan brown bear, wild Asiatic buffalo, desert fox, and hornbill. Endemic species. These are species which are only found in some particular areas, usually isolated by natural or geographical barriers. Examples: the Andaman teal, Nicobar pigeon, Andaman wild pig, Mithun in Arunachal Pradesh. Extinct species. These are species which are not found after searches of unknown or likely areas where they may occur. A species may be extinct from a local area, region, country, continent, or the entire earth. Example: the Asiatic cheetah, pink-head duck. What are the causes of depletion of flora and fauna? The resources obtaining directly and indirectly from forest and wildlife. In colonial period, what happened? The expansion of railways, agriculture, commercial and scientific forestry and mining activities. After independence, it was the expansion of agriculture, plantation, large-scale development project, mining, grazing. So you can say all these problems led to the depletion of flora and fauna. Fuel wood collection, industrialization, urbanization, hunting, poaching, overexploitation, environmental pollution, poisoning and forest fires, unequal access, inequitable consumption of resources, and differential sharing of responsibility for environmental well-being and overpopulation together caused the depletion of flora and fauna. Social effect on resource development. The women bear the majority responsibility of the collection of fuel, fodder, water, and other subsistence needs. As these resources are depleted, the drudgery of women increases and sometimes they have to work for more than 10 kilometers to collect these resources. So this causes serious health problems for women, negligence of home and children because of increased hours of work, which often has serious social implications. The indirect impact of degradation such as severe drought or deforestation included floods. Poverty in these cases is a direct outcome of environmental destruction. The destruction of forest and wildlife is not just a biological issue. The biological loss is strongly correlated with the loss of cultural diversity. Such losses have increasingly marginalized and impoverished many indigenous and other forest dependent communities who directly depend on various components of the forest and wildlife for food, drink, medicine, culture, spirituality, etc. Why do we need to conserve our forest and wildlife? Conservation preserves the ecological diversity and our life support systems, water, air, and soil. It also prevents preserves the genetic diversity of plants and animals for better growth of species and breeding. The conservation of forest and wildlife in India. The Indian Wildlife Protection Act was implemented in 1792, and this aim or the program's aim was towards protecting the remaining population of certain endangered species by banning hunting, legal protection to their habitats, and restricting trade in wildlife. Central and many state government also established national parks and wildlife sanctuaries. The central government also announced several projects for protecting specific animals which were gravely threatened, including the tiger. The government's categorization of forest: number 1, reserved forest; number 2, protected forest; number 3, unclassed forest. Reserved forests: more than half of the total forest land has been declared reserved forest. Reserved forests are regulated as the most valuable as far as the conservation of forest and wildlife resources are concerned. Protected forest: almost one third of the total forest area is protected forest as declared by the Forest Department. This forest land are protected from any other further depletion. Unclassed forest: these are other forest and wasteland belonging to both government and private individuals and communities. New trends in conservation policies. Increase in biodiversity. The conservation project is now focusing on biodiversity rather than on a few of its components. There is now a more intensive search for different conservation measures. Increasingly, even insects are beginning to find a place in conservation planning. In the notification under Wildlife Act of 1980 to 1986, several hundred butterflies, moths, beetles, and one dragonfly have been added to the list of protected species. In 1991, for the first time, plants were also added to the list, starting with 6 species. Community and conservation. In some areas of India, local communities are struggling to conserve these habitats along with government officials, recognizing that only this will secure their own long term livelihood. In Sariska Tiger Reserve, Rajasthan, villagers have fought against mining by citing the Wildlife Protection Act. Nature worship is an age old tribal belief based on the premise that all creations of nature have to be protected. Such beliefs have preserved several virgin forests in pristine called sacred groves. The Mundas and the Santhal of the Chotanagpur Plateau region also worship the Mahuma and the Kadamba tree, and the tribals of Orissa and Bihar they worship the tamarind tree and mango tree. Indian society comprises several cultures, each with its own set of traditional methods of conserving nature and its creation. Sacred qualities are often prescribed to springs, mountains, peaks, plants, and animals. You will find troops of macaws and nangors around many temples. They are fed daily and treated as part of temple devotees. The famous Chipko movement in Himalaya has not only successfully resisted deforestation in several areas but also shown that community afforestation with indigenous species can be enormously successful. Farmers and citizens groups like the Beach Bachao Andolan in India, joint forest management furnished a good example for involving local communities in the management and restoration of degraded forest. So all this together has led to the successful protection of our environmental policy. I think I've covered all the subtopics that are there in the chapter. See the video, see the PowerPoint presentation. It will definitely help you in covering the entire chapter. If you have any doubt, you can always come to me for the discussion in classes. Thank you.
Hello students, I hope you have enjoyed the video. Have a look at it, understand the flow of the chapter, and if at all if you have any doubts, you can always come to me for the discussion in the online class. Thank you.